When do you start like narrowing things down, getting specific with players?
With rotations, we're probably going to do that, experiment with it in our exhibition games. Not in a real big hurry with that right now. Still, we got another couple of weeks. We have a good idea. We're going to see how things play out. Today, Leandro, his knee was a little sore, so things like that will happen. And once as soon as you start thinking about lineups, that's when something like that will happen. So we're going to kind of play it here, mix the teams up, black and white, for the next few days, probably up until, I would say, the first exhibition games, and after that, kind of be more specific as far as looking at a 8 or 9-man rotation. And I think it's going to be probably closer to 9, possibly, could be 10 because of the rapid-fire games. And so, guys are going to give you plenty of minutes, and that's why it's good that we've got 2 or 3 guys in each position.
How do you design a defensive system that masks the individual difficulties with the players? You got some guys who can't stop driving. How do you design a system?
Well, you got to have a lot of help. You got to have help. The guys have to know where the help is. When you close out the touch, you got to know where the help is on your left or right, who's coming, who's covering the helper. And the help system has to be huge when you have deficiency with foot speed and foot quickness. And we have them. And every team has it. We've had it in Dallas. We had it in Seattle. But again, the helper is the most important guy. In our pick and roll system, the nail man is one of the most important guys in our system, the base go guys. So that helps. And when you're playing zone, the center position is the most important position because he's your radar. He's the guy back there talking, directing traffic. He understands what side the heavy side of the floor is. So there's a lot of variables that go into it, but those are the most important things when you talk about having defensive deficiencies, which we do have. But again, I'm impressed with our guys. I'm impressed with Andrea's attention to detail, with his defensive approach. He's rebounding in practice. He's putting his body on people. And he almost has to out of survival when you have Aaron Gray and Jamal McGlory around you. You better hit somebody or you're going to get your head knocked off. So he's doing a much better job of boxing out, putting his body on people, putting his body in harm's way when drivers are coming down the lane.
Dribble penetration was a huge problem with this team and this roster for the last couple of years. You need to change basic concepts, like the very basic tenets of playing defense?
Well, again, containing the ball is huge. When you drop that foot on penetration, we've been working hard on that. Our main thing is contain and contest, more so than pressure from the guard position. We have some guys that can go out and pressure the ball and some guys who can't. So that's going to be the recognition who can, who can't. I don't think it's a macho thing. You can't make it a macho contest. Okay, I'm going to go out and get in Derrick Rose's grill. You can't do that. You got to make sure you think contain and contest and be smart. I think defense is a thinking man's game, just as much as offense. And we have to be cerebral when it comes to the defensive game, as well as having the focus and the intensity of that.
Post All-Star break, DeMar averaged almost 20 points a game. Obviously, you'd like to see him use his athleticism to be a more effective defensive player. When you were watching video, what did you see on offense that he can do more?
I tell you what, he really developed coming off screens, off pin downs, coming off there ready to rapid fire. He really developed his offensive game last year. And as you said, Eric, now he's got to turn that foot speed and that quickness around and use it on the other end. But really has ability to score, and what we'd like to do is post him up some. Like Andrea, we want to move him around and get him in different positions on the floor to take advantage of his athleticism.
Have you seen him extending his range in terms of his jumper?
A little bit. I mean, he's been working on his threes, and again, he's got the green light to take them in the right situation. He's been working on him. I don't know if that's his strength yet, but he's really been working hard at him and knocking him down in practice. Now, I guess the test will be knocking him down when the popcorn's popping. So, but he's really been working. He worked hard all summer, and I think his offensive game is going to, take off where he left off last year.
Is it fair to? What kind of a burden is it on a 21-year-old who's seen by many as the face of the franchise?
With DeMar?
Yeah.
It's a lot of pressure, but it's it's a good pressure. You got to embrace, as a 21-year-old, it should be the best pressure you can have. You have to embrace it, and not let it be a burden to you. I think he's doing that. Again, to expect a 21-year-old to have the foresight and the focus is difficult, and that's why you have guys like Jamal and Aaron Gray and A.C. Carter and Rasul Butler. Those guys have been through it. They've seen it from Alonzo Mourning and in tough situations. And then Jamal with LeBron and those guys down there, so they can talk to them and help them out in those situations. That's why you bring those veterans in here, not only to play and be physical, but also to mentor and talk to the guys and help them with those pressure situations.
What do you think is the biggest obstacle preventing him from becoming a truly elite player?
Just immaturity. Just like most young players is just overall. I remember when Gary Payton was a young kid coming in, wet behind the ears, and just growing up and maturing and knowing how to be physical, knowing when to turn on, knowing when to attack the basket, knowing how to draw fouls. All those things takes time, and it's a process that you can't rush. And the only way you can go through it is going through the fire and getting stronger with it. And that's why you preach the word patience. But, like I said, it's hard for me to do that because my sense of urgency is there. So I've got to push him the other way. But then again, for his superstar status, I think the word patience is a better word to use.